Roughly 70% of family-owned businesses do not survive into the second generation, 70%. That number jumps to 90% when we're talking third generation. So what would it take to prevent those businesses from failing? Today on the show, we're going to talk to two experts about business succession planning. If you haven't done your own planning, you are in good company. A third of overall businesses have zero succession plans in place. Today's conversation may change that. Expert Connections starts now. All right, business owners, what's your retirement plan? What's your business succession plan? 30% of all businesses do not have a succession plan in place. So what happens to your business? Welcome to Expert Connections. I'm Julie Holton. Today, we're going to set out to answer that question. We have two experts for you today in our Business Connections segment. We have Tony Willis, who is the Chief Equity Development Officer for LEAP, which is the Lansing Economic Area Partnership. Also alongside Tony today, we have Amanda Dernovshek, an attorney at Foster Swift Law Firm. Tony, Amanda, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. You guys are really working right now behind the scenes with a group of folks, multiple organizations that are going to be putting on an event series that is really critical for business owners. It's often something that perhaps is not thought of until maybe late in the stages, later than businesses would like it to be, and that is business succession planning. Tony, I'm going to start with you. Why is LEAP, Foster Swift, Ingham County, a number of other partners who we'll make sure to list all of them, why is it so important to all of you to come together to put on this event training series?
Yeah, well, thank you, Julie. First, thanks for having us here today to talk about this. So this program is all about the longevity of our community. And we know that we're fortunate to have so many great entrepreneurs that started so many great businesses here in the Lansing region. And that a lot of these businesses have been for multiple decades. What we want to make sure is that these businesses have the ability to stay in existence as the owners are looking to plan for retirement, right? You think of some of your favorite places. And to use an example, like DeLuca's per se, a great business that was long.
You had to bring up DeLuca's, didn't you?
Right?
For those who don't know DeLuca's, imagine your absolute favorite restaurant in the whole world, and the owners retire, and then your restaurant is gone, right? So yes, like DeLuca's.
Like DeLuca's, a multi-generational, decades in, people have fond memories of going there from a baseball game, for a birthday party, for a date, in between, right? And always had demand too. But as soon as the owner, you get to a point whether you want to go to retirement. And a lot of folks' ways can do this. You can just close down and that's it. But then that's a net loss for everybody because we know that that business has value. And that if you sold that business, you as the owner now get some value out of it. The employees who are employed there retain a job, and then the community still gets to retain their favorite place to go to. And so it's a threefold win altogether here. And succession planning is critical. Ingham County and the commissioners, along with LEAP and our host of partners, Foster Swift as our lead partner with this, are doing a program here to really focus on preparing people of the importance of succession planning, how it's never too early to start thinking about succession planning. Think with the end in mind, right?
Absolutely. And Amanda, that's where you come in. I'd love to have you give us some of the kind of nuts and bolts of what this training series will include. I know there are two parts. And first of all, I think I saw numbers that show as many as 1 in 4, or is it more than that, of small business owners that don't have any succession plans in place. And a really small percentages of those businesses actually get passed from one generation to the next, whether that's through families or through other buyers or other succession plans. So obviously a critical need. Amanda, what's going to be addressed in this series?
Yeah, thank you, Julie. There are a number of things that we are hoping to address in this series. And when we were planning and kind of thinking ahead of what we want this to look like, we set it up in a two-part a two-part structure. So we're going to have sessions that we are going to call 101 and sessions that we're going to call 201. And it's sort of like the beginner class and then the intermediate class about all the things you need to know about succession planning. So when Tony and I are talking about succession planning, what we're really talking about is planning for the transition of management, but also ownership of your business. So our 101 session is going to be an overview of this process. How do you do it? Who do you need on your team to make sure that it's successful? What financial aspects should you be considering? And how do you know what you need from your business to make sure that you're financially stable and the business is also going to continue after your transition? We're going to talk about different structures that you could consider for that. And all of that's going to be in our 101 session. So it's really an overview of how to do it, what to be thinking about, when to be thinking about it, which I've heard many professionals say the day you start your business, you should be thinking about succession planning. So that's our 101 class. And we're going to be offering that, I believe, 4 times this year at different locations in Ingham County. And we're really trying to make sure this is accessible to people who are interested in this topic and looking to make sure that their succession plan is in place. And then secondly, we're going to have the 201 sessions, which are going to get a little bit more, I would say, in the weeds with some of the legal issues that you might come across and how a transaction really works. So for that session, we're going to do in the form of a case study where we have a company that is being sold, and what are some stumbling blocks that come up along the way? What are things that could throw the deal, out or make it stop? How can you get ahead of those things to make sure that they can be addressed? And what we really want to drive home is that any issue that your business may have is probably fixable, but we need to identify it, get good members on your team to address them, and do that early. So 201 is going to be more of I think it'll be a really fun presentation because we're going to talk about like an actual business that's being sold and things that are going on. And of course, we're going to be available for questions throughout both of those presentations and after them as well. But that's kind of the overview of the process and what we see for the next several months in this partnership, which we're very excited about. And it's something that my team at Foster Swift deals with all the time. So we're really happy to see successes with the clients we work with. And we absolutely want to see that for our Ingham County businesses too.
And whether a business owner is building with a future sale in mind, building with succession, maybe passing on the legacy within their family or to a key employee. One of the things that we often hear is, oh, I don't have time. I'm busy building. I'm building. Certainly make time for this. And as you mentioned, the 101 series will be offered 4 different times. So there are 4 different times to be able to participate in that first session, and then followed by the 201 opportunities. Okay, so Amanda, you mentioned some of these legal aspects that that will be covered during these sessions. I know, Tony, there are also financial aspects that will be talked about. Can you share a little bit more about the partners who are involved in this training series and what we can expect?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So beyond the legal expertise that's provided by Amanda and the team at Foster Swift, we have a number of partners to be engaged. And once again, we give credit to Ingham County as the main sponsor for this program, thinking ahead, using some of their ARPA dollars to promote longevity and business succession for the Ingham County community. So beyond Foster Swift, we also have the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce promoting the program throughout the region as well, being one of our marketing partners, as well as connecting businesses to other businesses to have a safe space for this conversation as well. When it comes to deeper technical expertise, we're working with TriStar Bank in this area. Ben Bakken, everybody might know in our community here, is an amazing individual. I think he's one of the few, or if not the only, certified exit plan advisor in our community. And so having a strategic conversation about, you have a business, you have value, and let's think strategically of what is the best options that are out there for you to figure out to get the most out and the best outcomes for your business as well as you move forward. We're also working with Jessica Starks with Transworld, which is a long history of selling businesses and property in both. She was a real estate agent for many years, also now in the business transactional world. So can talk about both the actual physical infrastructure then the processes and goods and services that encompass the business within that physical infrastructure, as well as part of the program here. So a number of key parties are involved, and that coming to the 101 session will definitely open your mind and hopefully demystify some of the fears or the blockades that come up of why I can't get started, or it might be too much. But there's never a moment too early to think about what's the next steps may be. And then comes the 201s, having this engagement with further detail to talk to these folks I just mentioned, whether Ben Bakken, Tim Damon, Jessica Starks, and beyond, have those conversations. It's going to be crucial, and it's definitely a win for all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Opportunities to connect with this really expert lineup that you have in your panel. All of those names very familiar on this show. Certainly experts that can be trusted too, and you'll be in good company if this is something that you have been putting off or that you are not sure where to begin. Amanda, I want to give final word to you because I know you see the best and probably the worst as well when it comes to business succession planning. So if there's someone watching and they're not quite sure whether they can make time on that calendar for the first in this event series, give us your piece of advice on why a business owner should attend.
Oh, wow. So I think that's a really big question. I think we're going to bring a lot of valuable information. And Tony said it well. He said in the 101, we're going to demystify this process. And I think that's true. I know that succession planning is overwhelming. I think it's because people don't know all the options that are out there or who they need to get involved to help them. So the 101 sessions are going to be an hour and a half long. And I know for business owners, that feels like a large amount of time to dedicate to something like that you may not really be implementing for years to come, but it will be valuable for your business. It'll be important for you to make these connections. You'll get to know other business owners who have the same, issues that you may be having. And we really hope to give you a toolbox of information that you can take back to your business and make sure that you leave a legacy when it's time for you to step back or pass your business on. So I just think it'll be very valuable. I think it'll be an opportunity to make great connections in Ingham County. And I think it'll be hopefully really helpful for everybody who's in attendance. And if you can't make the first one, hopefully you can make one of the other sessions this year.
Yes, just had a conversation the other day with a business owner onto his next venture, but he did not sell his last business, and he could have, and he left so much money on the table, plus all of that work and time that he had put into building something that he then walked away from. So don't let that be you. This is definitely a panel you're going to want to take part in. Tony and Amanda, thank you so much for being on the show today. We will make sure to link to all of the information about this training series, multiple sessions available for both the 101 as well as the 201 and this business succession training. Guys, thanks for being on the show today.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie.
That is all for this episode of Expert Connections. Stay tuned for the next video in our Business Connections series. And again, check out that info on the upcoming business succession training.